Our top story this evening, the much-awaited India-UK free trade agreement has been signed. It's been in the works for over 3 years, with talks starting in January 2022. United Kingdom has seen 4 prime ministers since then. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that there may be a swing and a miss, but India will always play with a straight bat. Keir Starmer says that the deal would create over 2,000 British jobs. Commerce ministers of both nations signed the agreement earlier today. The deal is estimated to boost bilateral ties between the two nations by $35 billion and bring down the tariff guardrails to a large extent. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer received Prime Minister Modi at the Chequers House earlier today. During the visit, both the leaders will review bilateral trade ties and discuss issues including technology, investment, climate, defence and migration. As part of the trade deal, India will lower its average tariffs on products from the United Kingdom from 15% to 3%. Products from the UK, including soft drinks, cosmetics, cars, medical devices and Scotch whisky, will get cheaper. The deal is also going to unlock access for financial and business services for both nations. How will India benefit from this trade deal? Well, the UK has opened up its market for India's labour-intensive goods, which will include leather, footwear, textiles, engineering goods, fertilizers, chemicals and petrochemicals. Agriculture exports to Britain is also likely to increase by over 20% in the next 3 years. Speaking at a joint press conference, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said that India and UK are launching the Vision 2035 strategy to work more closely on defence, migration, health, while Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the Indian security agencies will continue to enhance cooperation and coordination on matters such as extradition of economic offenders.
This is the biggest and most economically significant trade deal that the UK has made since leaving the EU. And I think I can say that it's one of the most comprehensive deals that India has ever done, boosting wages, raising living standards and putting more money in the pockets of working people. It is good for jobs, it is good for business, cutting tariffs and making trade cheaper, quicker and easier.
Those who misuse democratic freedoms to undermine democracy itself must be held account. इकोनॉमिक ऑफेंडर्स के प्रत्यार्पण के विषय पर भी हमारी एजेंसी सहयोग और समन्वय से काम करती रहेगी.
Discuss the significance of the deal is Richard Heal, Chair of the UK-India Business Council. Thank you for being with us, Richard. First of all, explain to us, how does this deal compare with the kind of FTAs UK has already signed with different allies and countries over the last few years?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think the fundamental point is that this is a much deeper, more substantial free trade agreement than we've signed with countries previously. And we're talking about countries such as Japan, such as New Zealand, Australia, and indeed even the United States. They are transactions or agreements which are, if you like, based on much less in terms of substance than the ambition that underlines and underscores the free trade agreement between India and the UK. And I would point to the fact that, you know, it is based on a very strong existing relationship between the 5th largest economy in the world and the 6th largest economy in the world. The FDI that is invested by Indian companies in the UK is very high. Lots of large Indian companies here. And likewise, UK companies are heavily invested in India. So what it is doing is strengthening the existing relationship.
Right. Richard, I'd like to ask you about financial services and the insurance sector. Are we likely to see more investments as a result of this trade agreement? And the UK Prime Minister's office spoke about how this FTA gives locked-in access and binding investment caps to the financial services and the insurance sector. Could you give us a sense of how this would help?
Yeah, I mean, already we are seeing increased levels of interest and investment between the UK and India in financial services. Prudential has made some significant investments in India recently and within the past few months. And I think that that is probably in anticipation of the changes that have been coming through in the relevant chapters. At the same time, I mean, Minister Sitaraman was in London a few months ago, and I attended the India-UK Financial Partnership meeting, which has overlaps with the FTA in the financial services area. And there you are seeing significant areas such as asset management and green finance, which underpins infrastructure. Those are areas that both the Chancellor and the Finance Minister want to develop. So I think, yes, I think that the FTA will catalyse further investment. But at the same time, there has been investment already in anticipation of the FTA.
Right. I'd like to ask you about mobility. As you go through the fine print, would you say that there would now be more visas available, more quotas for Indian professionals looking to move to the UK to work and vice versa?
Well, there is an element of what they call the DCC, or the social agreement within the alongside the FTA. And it involves obviously not paying tax twice or social security twice for temporary visas from professionals, and it's a 3-year moratorium, if you like. The fact of the matter is that there is no increase in the number of visas under the temporary arrangement, but these are an extension, nonetheless, of existing of new arrangements, which make it more attractive for Indian companies and indeed UK companies to bring their professionals into the UK. So from that point of view, I think it is a very positive adjustment.
Right. Is the UK industry satisfied with the kind of arrangement that the auto sector has got? From what we read, the tariffs are going to come down in India from 110 to 10% over a 10-year period in a phased manner. On electric vehicles, the tariffs will start coming down from the 6th year from now onwards, from the implementation of the FTA. In the UK, we see from the charts that have been given to us by the Indian government that the tariffs will come down to 0. So would you say that it's currently, if we were to export cars to the UK, that would happen at 0 duty?
Well, I think there are two elements here. I mean, the first is, as you rightly say, the EV, but also the luxury cars that come in from the UK. No doubt, we're talking about Jaguar Land Rover, and we're talking about other cars of that, if you like, that luxury quality, where tariffs will come down under quotas. So I think that that is a positive. I think that it is encouraging as far as manufacturing is concerned here. I also believe that it is a positive such that auto components for items that are made or that are manufactured in India are also included within the free trade agreement. So taken as a whole, if you're asking me whether the UK companies are pleased, I'm sure that they would like more. But nonetheless, I think overall, it's a very positive step in terms of collaborating between our two countries.
Right. And which UK industries, according to you, are the biggest gainers out of this? Scotch whisky, there was a big demand to bring down tariffs. And currently, the tariffs come down to about 75% immediately, and then they would come down further?
Yes, the trajectory is, as you rightly say, a 50% reduction to 75%, and then subsequently a further 50% to 40% tariffs in the future. I think that there is considerable interest in terms of premium bottled premium whiskey coming in, and I think that will certainly be welcomed both by the Scotch industry here, but also by Indian consumers. At the same time, I'm very well aware that 79% of Scotch that is actually imported into India is in bulk form. And that is then used to, if you like, to stimulate and catalyze the domestic production, which will directly impact and positively as far as Indian industry and Indian workers are concerned. So I think it's a win-win situation. Obviously, the Scotch that comes in bottle form benefits in Scotland, the manufacturers, but also the consumers in India. And the domestic manufacturing, along with technology transfer, will benefit consumers in India as well as industry in India.
Right. My final question would be, are there any areas where you expect a higher amount of investments now with the FTA in place?
Well, I think one of the key areas which maybe doesn't particularly impact, I mean, there are two areas actually, if I think about it. One is in defense and aerospace, and particularly in relation to the technology side of defense and aerospace. And I'm thinking about systems within systems. I'm thinking about AI. I'm thinking about cybersecurity. These are areas where there is already a lot of collaboration, but I think that the if you like, the strategic cooperation that underpins the FTA will cause greater activity between our two nations in that specific area. So, and another area which I feel is critically important, and we'll see stimulus and investment, and we're already seeing investment, is in education. And what do I mean by that? We're seeing the announcement, starting to see the announcement of UK higher education and indeed schools saying they're going to be setting up campuses in India to bring their content directly to the Indian consumer and Indian population. And I think that also will be a major positive under the FTA. The one thing that I would say as well is that this agreement is, if you like, what I classify as being a floor. It's not a ceiling. So it is all about ease of doing business. It's all about encouraging SMEs and MSMEs of both countries to follow the supply chains of their larger companies and set up in each other's countries. Absolutely fundamental to strengthen the supply chains and the migration between the two countries in order to, if you like, give us economic security in ways that we have not perhaps enjoyed in the past.
All right. Thank you very much, Richard Heal, for joining us on the program, giving us your views on the India-UK FTA.
Thank you very much.
Russian rescue services have found the wreckage of a plane